Hey everybody, BJ Posnecki back with another home tip. So this video is for those of you that are turning on the air conditioning for the first time. Maybe you bought a brand new house that was built over the winter and you haven't had a chance to turn the air conditioning on. So I just want to run through a few things real quick. So naturally there's going to be, thermostats are going to vary. This is the Honeywell Lyric. You're going to have the Nest. You can have a regular manual Honeywell or whatever brand name thermostat that has the arrows where you can change the temperature. So naturally we're going to kick it over to the air conditioning mode. Okay, this one has like a little snowflake. We're going to turn it over to the air conditioning mode. The room temperature in here is 70 degrees. So we're going to obviously turn this below that 70 degree mark. Whatever, just below the 70 or whatever the room temperature is, we're going to turn it below that, and that will kick on the air conditioning. It's a little chilly, so outside right now, so I'm going to turn this back up. Super important. I want you all to test the air conditioning as soon as the temperatures are above 60 degrees. Some situations you can test it at 50. I want to play it safe, so don't test the air conditioning when it's below 60 degrees. But why I'm making this video is before the heat wave, or the first heat wave, make sure, as soon as the weather breaks, you check your air conditioning, because I can't tell you how many no air conditioning calls I get during the first heat wave when all the heating and air conditioning contractors are super busy. So this is the reason for this video, is to get out ahead of that and test your air conditioning. And if you're having issues, reach out to your heating and air conditioning contractor or myself. So went over to thermostat. We're going to jump down to the furnace and we're going to jump outside. Okay, we're at the furnace. Make sure that, and sorry for all the clutter in here, but make sure that you are changing out the furnace filter, typically on a monthly basis. With these new high efficiency furnaces, make sure you're buying a MERV 5 or lower rated filter. At Home Depot, a lot of times it'll say FPR. They're the blue fiberglass meshy filters. They're like $1. Buy a dozen, 2 dozen, and then you're good for a year or two. Put a reminder in your phone to change it out once a month. If it's clean at that month mark, let it ride. Wait till the next month. For those of you that have a fresh air intake control module, keep in mind, whatever it is outside, you're bringing inside. So if we get 100 degrees and 100% humidity, you're bringing that in. And how there's a little bit of a variance, but how this particular one works is every hour for about 15-20 minutes, whether the thermostat is on or not, it will just kick the blower motor on, and it'll open up an electronic damper, that's the duct is running to the outside. It'll open up a damper and bring in the air from the outside. So just keep in mind, if it's extremely hot or if it's extremely cold, we get a polar vortex or we got negative temperatures, just be cognizant that, bringing that whatever it is outside, you're bringing inside. This particular system has a dual zone, meaning that it has multiple thermostats, or an electronic system, dual zone or an electronic system. It could be worded 2 different ways, but this particular system has multiple thermostats so that you don't need to seasonally balance it. But you can see my other video, how to seasonal balance. Simply put, hot air rises, cold air falls. So coming into the summer, we want to close down, if you have a basement, close down the basement dampers, the first floor dampers, pushing all that cold air up. And even when these damper levers are closed, which again, you can refer to my other video, I walk you through that and show you everything. Unfortunately, since this is an electronic system, it doesn't have the damper levers for me to illustrate for you. Even when those dampers are closed, there's still air passing by. It's just redirecting that airflow to other areas. But even when they're closed, there's still going to be some airflow passing through there. So you're not cutting off the airflow completely. So we're going to head outside for one more item I want to show you by the air condenser. Real quick before we jump outside, go to your electrical panel. It's either going to be in your garage, basement, mechanical room, depending on where it's installed per your floor plan and the layout of the house. Go to the electrical panel and locate the double AC breaker for air conditioning, and let's make sure that that is on. Sometimes I have seen it off, which, you know, for safety purposes, sometimes the heating and air conditioning guys, when they're building the house, especially in the wintertime, we'll leave that in the off position. Make sure that's on, and now we're gonna jump outside by the condenser. Okay, we're outside. Here's the air condenser. Make sure that you know, it's clean, free of debris. You know, if there's any leaves or anything, I wouldn't put too much around here. There needs to be at least a 1 foot clearance around this, just to make sure that it has proper airflow, so that this way everything can cool off when the fan is spinning. So for those of you that had a winter build, just to protect from anybody turning on the air conditioning, more than likely this is the disconnect box. Okay, this is what this is how we power. It's almost kind of like a fuse panel for the condenser, so that this way, you know, we don't have to get inside and turn off the breaker in the electrical panel. We can just pull the disconnect out inside this box, and it depowers the condenser to work on it. So in this gray box, you know, which will be located somewhere near the condenser, when you open it up in here, and there's a few different variations of these, but you know, this disconnect is, you know, usually pretty much standard and similar in all the different variations. So this, you know, as you'll see here, the heating and air guys, if they're doing a winter build, usually just so that nobody accidentally turns the air conditioning on, will leave this off. Okay, the one biggest call that I get is that this has been left in the off position, and then we come into the summer and we get that, you know, first time to use your air conditioning and nobody's got air conditioning because the condenser is off. So we just want to open up this panel like I did, pull this disconnect out, flip it around. You're going to see on here that when it's off, you'll see off in the upright position, on, it'll be in the upright position, you know, and you see these metal connectors here. So these spade connectors are going to go into the female portion of this. So we're going to flip this to the where we see on in the upright position. We're going to line it up here, and we're going to give it a good push. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, I have ran into where it could be a little stiff, meaning these female tabs in here, maybe a lot of times, sometimes they're too close together. Go inside, turn off the circuit breaker that says air conditioning, turn it off, and ever so slightly take a flat blade screwdriver and stick it in there and just open up those tabs, those prongs, just a little bit, not too much, or else it's gonna not make good contact with the disconnect, and it's gonna arc. So just, you know, if you're having a tough time, you know, this, you see this one, you could see here, there's a little bit of a gap in all of them, and it has a little bit of a beveled edge, so that when you push it in, it guides in the disconnect and it makes a good tight fit. But I have ran into where they're just so tight that you're going to have a hard time getting this in. So just take a flat blade screwdriver and ever so slightly just open them up a little bit, so it gives you a little bit of a gap so that you can get your disconnect. Whoops, we're upside down. Get our disconnect lined up, and then just give it a good push, you know, put a little elbow grease so that this disconnect is sitting flush to the box, and you're all good to go. Now, if you're not having air conditioning after that, reach out to your heating and air conditioning technician. There may be, you know, the refrigerant may have come out of the lines. There may be another issue. So, but this video is the most, you know, it's just the most common issues that I run into when people are turning on their air conditioning for the first time. So do this, like I said, you know, the first above 60 degree day we have, you know, follow these instructions, and that will help. You know, this way you've got time that if something's not working, you can reach out right away and get it addressed before that first heat wave comes. Okay, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe.